Hey, good morning. This is a demo for four people. This is for Tim, Brandon, Brantley, and Jaclyn. I did four of these all for you guys. I got a shipment from SP Sabers that had four of these Kylos in it, and they're for the four of you. I did them all at the same time. I didn't want to do four separate demos that are the same because they're all installed exactly the same. So I'm going to use this one, just happens to be Tim's because it was the last one I was working on just now. But just know this is for all four of them. All right, they're all installed with Proffies. They're 2-button setups. So you've got a switch back here. Hopefully you can hear that. That's on a magnet, and I'll show you that here in a second. And then your second switch is this pillbox. It's the bottom of the pillbox right here. And it is very tight. It's a tight fit to press that one. And you want to watch out for how you put these three screws in. So you've got one, two, and three. These are three screws that we're going to have to take out to get to the chassis. But then you also have three sets of stock V3s. So one in your main emitter, one in your side, and then of course another one in your other side. I don't have any side blades to light this up. These take 7/8 inch side blades, sanded heavily probably, right? Because I have a 7/8 inch blade and it doesn't fit in here. One thing you want to watch out when putting blades in these side quillions is every time I get one of these to install, the first thing I do is I take the screw out that holds this assembly in. So there's one screw that holds this side, one screw that holds this side. I put some Loctite on it. I put it back in, tighten it up, and then what I've also been doing is putting just a little bit of CA glue on the head of that screw just to hold it down in place, right? But when you put blades in these sides, it is very important not to twist them in there and then try to twist them out if they're tight. You want to go straight in and straight out so that way you don't loosen this mechanism, although I've taken every step that I could take to make sure that it stays tight for you. All right. On this guy, it really doesn't matter on your main emitter. And I'll fire that up with a short blade here and show you that it works. But everyone has a blade retention here, another blade retention here for your side blades. And then for your main blade, you've got a tiny set screw right here that I'm not going to use for this demo, but I did go ahead and put it in there for you. I'm just going to hold the blade in there and fire it up and show you that it works, okay? Now for everyone's saber except for Brantley, because he did not want the wire cut. On the other three, I cut your guys' wires right here at this clip. So you go ahead and you can pull it out. That way we can take the handle off and we can leave this piece right here on this upper shroud. Okay, so what we want to do is take these three screws out. You can take them out in any order, but you need to put them back in a certain way. Now, although I'm using my own Allen key for this, every set of Kylos that's going out has its own set of Allen keys. And actually, before we take those screws out, what we want to do is come over here with a pair of tweezers and grab this switch. Just pull it right out. It's on a magnet right there. All right, so we'll set that off to the side, and I'll show you what the inside of this guy looks like. We'll just take these out any old way. One more. When you do this and you're taking them out, you kind of want to hold it like I'm holding it right now, and I'll show you that. I'm kind of supporting the shroud and the handle because once you take those three screws out, everything comes off. You can slide the handle off like that, but then also the shroud itself is now free floating and it comes off because it's also held on with those three screws, okay? And once you get that off, there's that switch that had the magnet on it, so it's got its own magnet glued to it. And then, of course, here's your other switch that sits underneath the pillbox. And then here is your chassis. Three of you guys have a red chassis like Tim's here because I had some of these left over. And then on the fourth one, actually Jaclyn has the space gray chassis that I printed in-house because I only have three of these. These are actually a chassis it's an add-on that you buy from Sean, but I had them laying around, so I went ahead and I used them anyway. It didn't cost you anything, okay? But here's your Proffie board. You can get to your SD card and your micro USB without moving the board. So just take a pair of tweezers and you can pull that SD card out if you want. Tim, I did get the 3 sound fonts on here from KSIF that you wanted. And it's all set to go. But On all of them, you'll also find a copy of the config file that I used to set them up, because they're all set up a little bit differently. 28 millimeter Smuggler's Outpost. This is the elite version, fully enclosed, so it sounds really good. You do have a removable 21700 battery. I'm just going to go ahead and leave this in there. Super tight fit, so watch out when you're putting it in. You want to press all the way up against the springs before you snap this in and get that positive side on that terminal. It is a super tight fit, and I did that on purpose so it wouldn't fall out. And then there is a kill switch right here, right? They all have a kill switch. So of course, if I turn this light off and flip this switch,
let the past die. Kill it if you have to. It's the only way to become who you're meant to be.
all your LEDs will fire up. I gave everyone twist off, but I didn't give any swing ons because it's there's so much involved with putting this saber together. So once we do flip that kill switch, we have to put it back together, right, in order to play with it just a little bit. So we'll take this shroud and put it on. Once you put it on correctly, it will find its own home. And then you kind of want to hold it there. We'll take our handle. You can see that little cutout right there in the handle. That is for the pillbox section. We just line that up just like that. And then we're going to come through and put these screws on. I'm going to put them on, and then I'm going to tell you a particular way to put them on. If you just come through and you mash all three of these screws in, then the switch underneath the pillbox won't work correctly. Okay, so let me get these in real quick because it's hard to do this and talk at the same time. I'm a simple guy. So we'll get all three of these on. We'll come over here. We'll put our red wire in our handle. And if it's sticking out right here, you just come over here and tuck it in. No big deal. That's how that's meant to be. So once you do everything, it looks like it's a single wire. Everything is good. So what I did was I put all three of them in loosely, and I came back on the back one. I tightened this one up. And then I came back on the one that is away from the pillbox, and I tightened that one up. And then lastly, on this one, I tightened this one. Excuse me. I tightened this one up. That way, it's a tight press, but it works. And we can press it again and turn it off. You will find that you have to do that a certain way on these three screws in order to get this guy to work properly. So if you just tighten it on and it's not working for you, mess with this, the tightness of these screws a little bit, and it should be fine. All right. Then lastly, we'll take our button that has the magnet on it. We'll just throw it right in the back hole, and it will find its own way home. Right, and then we could just hit it for or we could hit it to change sound fonts, because this is the auxiliary.
Kylo Ren.
To play a soundtrack, we'll hold. It's a long press on the activation. And it's another long press to turn it off. Just like that. And then we could just tap it to turn it on, and you'll notice that you do have a delay in your quillions. So the main blade will fire off first before the quillions do. Just like that. Other side. The other side is exactly the same way. All right. Now I do not want to use the small blade retention for the main blade because it's so tiny. I don't want to wear it out. I'll let you guys do that. I'm sure it'll be fine, but I don't like using that guy because it's so small. And for the purpose of this demo, I can just take this blade and I'll just hold it in here so that you can see everything fires up. Just like that. And of course, with these Kylo sound fonts, they're all unstable blades. All the PCBs were tested outside of the Saber. The quillions are set to 26 pixels a piece, so that should be sufficient for a side blade, whatever side blade you decide to go with. But we'll go to another sound font.
Kylo Ren.
Nice smooth swing. Flash on flash. If you want blade lockup, hold down auxiliary and hit the saber at the same time. And you can hear it, and you'll see it in your blade. And it will stay like that until you let go of it. Just like that. Play another sound font, or soundtrack rather. Turn it off and go another one.
Kylo Ren.
And we'll play this soundtrack as well. And then turn that off. And that's pretty much the Kylo. Now we'll just go back through and take it back apart so that I can flip that kill switch back. And I probably won't do that on camera because you've already seen me take it apart. But what we want to do, just take the handle off. You can leave your battery in and then just flip your kill switch. In fact, we will do that because I kind of like to show, always like to show people that the kill switch is doing what it's supposed to do. So yeah, let's just go ahead and do that real quick. It just takes a second. Take these 3 screws out in any order. Remember, take your magnetic switch off first, then take the 3 screws out. That way you can slide the handle off. And if I were to turn this on, and come over here and flip the switch, right? It cuts everything off just like it should. So that is pretty much the Darkness V3 by SP Sabers and Props and Phoenix Props. Let me know if you have any questions, and if not, I will get your guys' sabers out to you by Monday. All right, thanks.